All right, so we're knee deep in 2019 of the new tax law. So I want to talk about gift tax for 2019, a pretty simple concept, but one that gets, I'm telling you, very, very few people understand it. And we're going to dive into this deeply because it's important to understand, especially if you have a gifting strategy that you're considering, because gifting is a couple things. A wonderful way to give money to other people to see how they can manage it while you're alive. And so let's just say you have a large estate, and a large is whatever you think. I don't care. $1 million, $100,000, I don't care. A large is subjective. But just say you're saying, I want little Joey to get some of my money, so I'm going to give him a little bit today to see if he reacts, how he reacts. If he starts sniffing it up his nose, I probably don't want to leave him the bigger portion of my estate because I've seen that he sniffs it up his nose. Not good. Or you could say, little Joey just got married to this wonderful lady and they're doing great. They're trying to raise kids. I love what they're doing and I'd like to help them out by buying a home, paying off some debt, whatever it is you want to do. I just don't care. You say, I want to enjoy it because remember, the best thing about gifting, and if you go back to Randy Alcorn's book, The Treasure Principle, this is a Christian book. Ooh, watch out. He talks about Jesus. Oh. But the giver is the one who gets the most glory from the gift. You feel better about giving. You don't feel as good. You feel better than the recipient. It's nuts. I'm telling you, when you give, it makes you feel great. You feel awesome. And so read Andy Alcorn's book. It's simple. It's not a very big book. Look at that. I love it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. But anyway, I just had that out there because I had talked about it before. But anyway, at the end of the day, the premise is you get the enjoyment out of giving while you're alive to see the benefit of helping little Joe and his new wife and their kids. What a wonderful feeling. It makes you feel good. And so it feels good. But unfortunately, a lot of people say, well, if I give, it might be taxable. Or if I give or whatever, I want to wait till I die to give because I'm so nervous about the market, all this stuff. And so let's dive into that here because I think it's important. I think it's actually critically important if you have that mentality of being a giver while you're alive to enjoy the fruits of your labor as you can see it in front of you. My man Skip Ritchie does mission trips to Zimbabwe. I was actually thinking about going with him one time. Remember, Zimbabwe used to be Rhodesia, right, as a predecessor to what's happening now in South Africa. Mugabe took over Zimbabwe, basically killed all the white farmers. They have no industry anymore. There's no farming. They do some coffee growing. They're desperate to get industry back. And Mugabe's, I don't think he's not dead yet. I think was he exiled? I don't think he's exiled, but he lost his grip, thank the good Lord. Zimbabwe was a breadbasket of Africa, and yet that monster took over and just pummeled everybody, opposition, and just horrific. Same things happen in South Africa right now. Same exact things happening, and we'll see the same results for sure. Only a matter of time they change the name of South Africa to something else too. And I don't have a problem with that, but just we see what's going on. Anyway, so here's Skip Ritchie. He's a pastor. He's a Christian pastor, minister in St. Louis, and he's in the part of St. Louis. He showed me on a cell phone all the gunshots going on. Let's just put it this way. He's his only kind in that place of St. Louis, and he watched a guy get shot while he's buying potato chips. Horrible. But he loves the Lord, man. And the Lord's calling him to Zimbabwe, so he goes down there. But he can only go by being funded by generous people. Now, in that case, because Skip runs a 503c or 501, I can't remember, a charity, it's not taxed anyway, but doesn't it make you feel good to give so people like Skip can go to Zimbabwe and help people? It's wonderful. So giving is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and more people need to do it while they're alive as opposed to waiting till death. But I get all the time, look at my thing, about people getting worried about gift because of gift taxes. So let's talk about the three numbers. This is gift tax 2019. All right, so you can still give $15,000 today. You can write me a check right now for $15,000 and not have to file it, not have to pay tax on it, and not have to do anything. You say, here, Jock's check for $15,000. Good luck to you. And I say, thank you. I don't have to pay tax. I don't have to file nothing. You don't, I don't. We are good to go. Now, we'll talk about gifting stock. I don't know if I'll get in that here today. We'll see. But anyway, that's cash, right? So you give me $15,000 of cash, no tax due, no taxes on it, no gift return, nothing whatsoever. You give $15,000 to me, you give $15,000 to my wife, Charlotte. Same thing. She gets it, no taxes, no paperwork to file, nothing, just checks, hands the check, goes to the bank, deposits, good to go. You're good to go, I'm good to go, she's good to go. Nothing. You give me a check for $16,000 on the other hand, then you have to file a gift tax return. So 1 page, my friend, is it. Just 1 page. No big deal. It's literally the easiest. It's easy. No big deal. Now, $16,000 is above the annual exclusion amount. The annual exclusion amount of $15,000 is the amount you can give to any single living human being without having to file a gift tax return. So the minute you go above the $15,000 to any individual, you've got to file a 709, which is a 1-page IRS gift tax return. So if you gave me $10,000, him $10,000, my wife's 8 brothers and sisters $10,000, my wife $10,000, you don't have to file a 709. But if you gave 20 million people $10,000 and me $16,000, you would have to file a 709 because you're $1,000 above the annual exclusion. All the annual exclusion means is how much you can give without having to file the 709. That's it. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. That's all it is. If you give more than $15,000, it is not taxed to anybody. I'm just telling you, I cannot stress this enough. It is not taxed to anybody. It just means if you gave more than $15,000, you have to file a 709. Now, people say all the time, well, Josh, I gave $15,000 and my wife gave $1,000, thus it's $16,000, so we shouldn't have to file a 709. No, still, that's called a split gift, all right? So you're still going above the annual exclusion. You're giving $15,000, which is your $15,000 annual exclusion. My wife is giving $1,000, which is part of her $15,000 annual exclusion to that one person. But because we're combined on our tax return and we're splitting the gift, so that way it's not all $16,000 from me, we still have to file a 709. It's just not a big deal. But I mean, if people don't want to file it, then just make sure you don't split the gift. That means you give $15,000 and that's it, and then my wife gives $1,000 to somebody else. Don't give it to the same person, simply because if you do and you split the gift, you have to file a 709. Now, filing the 709 is not a taxable event because each person now has $11.4 million of lifetime gift exemption. So you could literally write me a check for $11 million today and pay no gift tax. I pay no gift tax, you pay no gift tax. You just write me a check. Will you have to fill a 709? Yes. Again, it's a 1-pager. All the 709 does is it keeps a running tally of how much you've gifted over your life. That's all it does. It says, okay, Josh, you had given $11 million to Bob yesterday, and now you're giving $500,000 to Jane tomorrow, which means you are $100,000 above your lifetime amount. Still got to subtract your $15,000 annual exclusion. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you gave $11 million to Bob and then $500,000 to Jane, the first $11 million is tax-free. The next $400,000 is tax-free. The next $15,000 on top of that is tax-free because of the annual exclusion, which means you have to pay a gift tax on $385,000, I think, something like that. It's on the top of my head, but you get it. There's a lot of money you can give without being taxed. Just keep that in mind. So remember, if you want to give, and you're saying, well, I don't want to go up against the annual gift tax. I said, why? Well, because I don't want to pay tax. You're not. If you are giving more than $11 million, man, more power to you. Absolutely. More power to you. Pay tax on being known with it. The tax is high, I'm not going to lie to you. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone on this YouTube channel is giving more than $11 million. But if you do give more than 15, you got to file a 1-pager, 709. Easy, Stevie. Easy peasy. No big deal. And it just tells the IRS, hey, I gave more than my annual exclusion last year, which will take away some of the amount I can give for the rest of my life. I hope that makes sense. So just keep that in mind. You should be giving. Now, if you give to church, you give to school, you pay the tuition directly to your kids or grandkids. That doesn't fall in any of this. What is it? You pay to church, you pay to 501(c)(3), you pay the tuition directly to the school. There's another one about schools, tuition directly. Hospital, that's another thing. If you give it right to the hospital, you don't have to file any of this stuff. It's completely tax-free. There's no taxes consequence to you whatsoever. So remember that. Secondly, one thing I don't like, I'm not a fan of giving stocks while you're alive. Stocks, all right, because, well, let's just draw this out for you real quick. I'm not a fan of that at all. I think if you own a highly appreciated stock, I think you'd be crazy to give that away while you're alive. So we're going to say you have a stock that you bought for 20, and now it's worth 100. All right. So remember, at your death, this is completely tax-free because step-up basis. That's at your death. Now, unfortunately, what a lot of people do, which is I think a huge mistake, they got stock 100, they'll make a gift while they're alive. They'll give that to Joey. And Joey now inherit at that will be his cost basis. And so Joey's going to sell that, which I guarantee he's going to, because he wants to buy the beach house, and he's going to have an $80 long-term capital gain. All right, so we don't give appreciated stock. I mean, obviously every situation is different, but you don't want to do that. None of this is taxable to you, by the way. Just FYI, you're giving money that doesn't tax anything unless you go above this right here, $11.4 million. And don't forget, your spouse has another $11.4 million as well. The issue comes down to if you're giving a stock while you're alive, you're transferring the cost basis to the recipient. Don't do that. Now, if you have a stock that's under in value, don't do that either, because what happens is you're transferring the cost basis of not transfer the cost basis, you're transferring the value of the stock. So essentially, instead of you selling it to take the loss, you're transferring a lower value than what you put into it, and you can't take the loss. And Joey inherits it. He doesn't inherit. He takes it at that lower cost, right? Because you bought it at 20, it's worth 10. You give it to Joey. Joey gets it at 10, and he sells it. All right. Well, that $10 capital loss is lost. You don't get the write off, and he doesn't get it write off, because that's just the way the tax code works. So what you should do is you should sell it first to take the capital loss, and then give him the cash, if that makes sense. So remember, you got $15,000 on any given year. You can give to anybody $15,000, not feel anything. There's no tax, nothing. You go over $15,000, you have to fill an IRS form 709, which is the annual the IRS gift tax returns, one pager. All right, the $15,000, by the way, let me just write that down. It's called your annual exclusion. How much you can give without having to file anything, declare it. Go above $15,000, you got to file a 709, that one pager, no big deal. It's still not subject to taxation. I mean, unless you get up to this significant amount of money, you're not ever paying tax on your gift. So give away, my friends. Giving is a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Don't give appreciated stock. Don't give depreciated stock or stock loss. Sell them first, take the capital loss, then give the cash proceeds. You want to transfer stock that is appreciated at your death, for sure. I'm trying to think what else that I want to say on that. It seems like I'm missing something. Give while you're alive. Don't wait until you're dead, and give it while you're alive so you can enjoy the benefit of seeing other people use your hard-earned assets put to good use. That makes you feel good. Giving is a wonderful thing to do. Don't get so caught up in, Mr. Scrooge McDuck, like, I can't give anything because I got to hold my money because I'm worried about the markets, or I'm worried about Obama, or I'm worried about Trump. Man, don't. You've been blessed. So give while you're alive. You'll enjoy it. If it takes you $2,000 to start just giving a $2,000 check to little Joey down the street, and you're like, I don't know, try it. Watch how little Joey reacts. See what he does. If he sniffs up his nose, then don't give him any more. And if he's going to be the recipient of your estate, well, you doggone better get a trustee to make sure Joey doesn't run out of money by sniffing up his nose. But it's a wonderful, wonderful strategy to give. On top of that, you do reduce your estate. You reduce the growth of your estate. I don't want to get too much in that here today, but there's benefits of giving from estate planning, but mostly there's a benefit of giving from what's in here, your heart. It makes it feel good, man. So, all right, don't forget to subscribe down below, thumbs up, the whole thing. If you like what you see, subscribe, thumbs up, comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.